All right, let us talk about the firing. And this is to the point, but let's talk about the firing of Andrew McCabe. Yes, it's another exciting adventure of the FBI. We're talking about Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe is the deputy FBI director. He was the deputy FBI director. And Trump has been hammering him forever because, he was part of the investigation into Trump collusion and all this. But McCabe's wife, Jill, received something like $675,000 in donations for her Virginia state Senate campaign as a Democrat from a PAC run by Terry McAuliffe, or various organizations run by Terry McAuliffe, a big Clinton pal. So McCabe retired saying, okay, I'm getting out of here, but I want my pension. And then he was fired over the weekend by Jeff Sessions, which doesn't mean he loses his pension, by the way. It means he loses the chance to get his pension early. So he loses kind of pension bonuses. I think there will still be a pension for him when he's older. He's only like 50. So, okay. So the DOJ Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, this is what happened. Let's just do the facts first, okay? So you can understand what this was like. So McCabe, right? Michael Horowitz, the DOJ Inspector General appointed by Barack Obama, okay, and everybody respects him, everybody knows he's a straight arrow guy. He concludes an investigation in McCabe's behavior during the investigation into Hillary Clinton, both her email abuse and the Clinton Foundation and whether it was doing favors for donations, okay? The Democrats wanted this investigation, right? Because they felt that when Comey came out, remember how Comey came out and said, oh, we have to reopen the investigation because he just found all these extra emails on Anthony Weiner's, child molester Anthony Weiner's laptop because they went through Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton's aide, right? So here is all this classified stuff. And he said, I have to relook at this right before the election. Hillary Clinton, aside from blaming you and everything and the light and the weather and the dog ate her homework, aside from blaming everything else, blames Comey for doing this, okay? When that happened, the Wall Street Journal ran a story called FBI, an Internal Feud over Hillary Clinton Probe. And it had sources telling the Wall Street Journal that there was, that the agents in the field wanted to go hard against Hillary Clinton, but they were getting pushback from the top, and the top was saying, let's resolve this, let's get it out of the way. And so this was a leak. It was a sourced story, a leak, part of which was from Andrew McCabe. Okay. So the Inspector General, these are just the facts, right? He delivers his report. This is Obama appointee, delivers his report to the independent FBI Office of Professional Responsibility. Has nothing to do with the White House, right? This is the FBI internal guys. All they want is what I'm sure all the great people who work at the FBI want. They want this cleared up so they can go back to having the fantastic reputation they have always had. All right. So they come back. Horowitz comes back and says to the FBI Office of Professional Responsibility, the OPR, say McCabe leaked information to the Wall Street Journal, and then he was dishonest about it. He was less than candid about it under oath, which is bad, and that is a firing offense. So Jeff Sessions, what does he do? He comes out and he says, you're fired, and he fires him like the day before his extra benefits for his retirement kick in, right? So he can't get this pension. Those are the facts. Obama appointee does an investigation the Democrats wanted, reports to the independent FBI office, the OPR. The OPR says he should be fired. Sessions fires him. Here is Chuck Todd reporting about this on NBC number 4.
What I would say is this. I think the fact that how the president made the McCabe firing happen, it is an extraordinary, if you go back 18 months, the systemic campaign against McCabe to delegitimize him, to raise questions about him, to a deputy FBI director that nobody had ever heard of, and the president using his bully pulpit to do that. He gets Sessions, who some believe is firing McCabe quickly in order to save his own job, which would preserve the Mueller probe. I think the reaction by the president's attorney that this McCabe firing means time for the probe to end, I think that's most significant because I think it signals this president is no longer cooperating with Mueller. It's time for war.
Shame on you, Chuck. I mean, really, every word of that was absolute imaginary stuff, except for the fact that the Trump lawyers and Trump have been loudmouthed about this, which I'll get back to. That is important, and they shouldn't have been. But that's just nonsense. I mean, Trump did not get McCabe fired. It did not. He wanted McCabe fired. He hated McCabe. He was constantly tweeting about him. And the White House has continued to say and continues to say they're not going to fire Mueller. No, Mueller's not going to get fired, and that they're cooperating. He didn't say. Chuck Todd assumes that they've stopped cooperating with the Mueller investigation. There's no evidence of that I know of. Nobody has said anything in any responsible news outlet. And just to show that it's not an isolated incident, I also just have to play this hilarious clip from CNN's Washington, presidential historian, Douglas Brinkley. So it's not that he gets a little overwrought about this. Listen to him.
Is there any comparison to Nixon's Saturday Night Massacre?
Yeah, I mean, this will be known as the Friday Night Slaughter. This was the very idea that Jeff Sessions hasn't released something to inform the public what this is. It's done in a kind of cloak of secrecy late at night in a bizarre fashion. The fact that he was about to have his pension and they couldn't let it go. It's something very cruel and sad that's occurred tonight. And I think our country now hopefully is going to wake up. I mean, Donald Trump is struggling for his life. He is paranoid. He felt that McCabe was too close to Comey, and he decided to get rid of anybody and anything and that's standing in his way of kind of survival mode right now. But I think we can say tonight that the Trump White House is at war with our FBI.
The war is still on. I mean, really, Trump should be paying these guys rent because he's living in their heads. Now, let's take the other side of this. To be fair, Donald Trump should have kept his mouth shut over this because he got what he wanted. It was absolutely, his fingerprints are not on this. No matter what Chuck Todd says, he had nothing to do with this. And it was about the Hillary investigation. It was not about the Trump investigation. But Trump can't keep his mouth shut. So he tweets, Andrew McCabe fired, a great day for the hardworking men and women in the FBI, a great day for democracy. Sanctimonious James Comey was his boss and made McCabe look like a choir boy. He knew all about the lies and corruption going on at the highest level of the FBI. Then he goes on and Trump links the Mueller's collusion investigation to this. He says the Mueller probe should never have been started and that there was no collusion and there was no crime. It was based on fraudulent activities and a fake dossier paid for by crooked Hillary and the DNC and improperly used in FISA court for surveillance of my campaign witch hunt. All of which is true, but has nothing to do with McCabe's firing, which had nothing to do with any of this. And the special counsel shouldn't have been, as I said at the time, should not have been appointed. There was no crime to investigate it. That is why you appoint a special counsel, is to investigate a suspected crime, and he really has not. There is no suspected crime. Collusion, even if it happened, isn't it a crime? There's no evidence of it. Okay. But the McCabe is not about this at all. But again, my whole point here is the absolute panic about Trump and the big words. It's a Friday night slaughter. It's war. All these big, ridiculous words that they use about Trump just completely ignore the fact that the world into which Trump stepped was a corrupt world that Obama had rigged against him. He has a gripe. He may be a big mouth. He may not say things in the right way all the time. He may not know when to turn it off and when to turn it on. But he walked into a world of corruption and belligerence and bullying of the American people. So McCabe puts out his statement, right? And he says, here's the reality. I am being singled out and treated this way because of the role I played, the actions I took, and the events I witnessed in the aftermath of the firing of James Comey. The release of this report was accelerated only after my testimony to House Intelligence Committee revealed that I would corroborate former Director Comey's accounts of his discussions with the president. But listen to this. He then goes on and says, the OIG investigation has focused on information I chose to share with a reporter through my public affairs office and a legal counselor. This was leaked information. He is quoted as a source, not as Andrew McCabe. He says, as deputy director, I was one of only a few people who had the authority to do that. It was not a secret. It took place over several days, and others, including the director, James Comey, were aware of the interaction with the reporter. So he leaked to a reporter, and James Comey was aware of it. The problem with that is that Comey testified to the Senate under questioning from Chuck Grassley in May of last year. He testified that never happened. So here's cut number 5 with James Comey.
Director Comey, have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation? or the Clinton investigation?
Never.
Question 2 on relatively related. Have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?
No.
Has any classified information relating to President Trump or his associates been declassified and shared with the media?
Not to my knowledge. There have been a variety of leaks. Well, leaks are always a problem, but especially in the last 3 to 6 months.
Okay, so McCabe says, I leaked, yes, but I have the right to leak if I want to, and Comey knew about it. But there is Comey testifying that no, in fact, he never condoned anything like that. So somebody is maybe... So, and now Trump is crowing about that. Trump puts out a tweet, wow, watch Comey lie under oath to Senator Grassley when asked, have you ever been an anonymous source or known someone else to be an anonymous source? He said strongly, never know, he lied. So Trump is talking about that. The whole thing about this is that, you know, all those people chanting drain the swamp, those people that Hillary Clinton said were just hating on black people and women, and especially hating on Indian Americans, because she was in India at the time, so she wanted to make Indians feel bad. This whole idea that there's a deep state. Now, you can take this too far, that making the deep state a conspiracy. John Brennan, Obama's CIA guy, who has just been a big mouth throughout this, he tweets in answer to the McCabe firing. Listen to what John Brennan tweets. He says, when the full extent, he's tweeting to Trump, when the full extent of your venality, moral turpitude, and political corruption becomes known, you will take your rightful place as a disgraced demagogue in the dustbin of history. You may scapegoat Andy McCabe, but you will not destroy America. America will triumph over you. What the hell is going on? A guy got fired because he lied under oath, and it had nothing to do with Trump. It had to do with Hillary. What the hell is that? You know, if you don't want people to be afraid of the deep state, maybe don't make threats. Maybe deep staters shouldn't make threats against the president. And UN Ambassador, former Obama's UN Ambassador, Samantha Power, who unmasked all those people, right? She's unmasked hundreds of people. We have no idea why. She tweets, not a good idea to tick off John Brennan. They're threatening him. They're threatening the guy. I mean, the only person on the left who supports the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, is a congressman, a Democratic congressman from Long Island, Tom Suozzi, who was asked, what do we do? What do we do if Donald Trump doesn't obey the law? Listen to his answer.
If he does not execute that mandate, what does our Constitution say should happen?
How much time is he allowed?
How much time is he allowed?
I don't know the answer to the question. It's, you know, it's really a matter of putting public pressure on the president and making it public, which is hard to break through the news cycle and all the different things. And it's probably about going to the courts as well. And then, you know, I mean, this is where the Second Amendment comes in, quite frankly, because, you know, what if the president was to ignore the courts? What would you do? What would we do? So,
What does the Second Amendment say?
Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. That's the why we have it. That's why we have it.
So it's all right. Trump may be breaking the law. He may be at war with the FBI, but we can always kill him. You know, kill him. I don't know if you could hear that. It was a little muddy. The audio was a little muddy, but basically he said if everything else fails, we resort to the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. So in other words, he's saying we can always assassinate the president. So, you know, this is the thing. And it really would help if the deep state were not threatening the president all the time. It would really help us feel a little bit better about the government that's already there, and a little bit worse, and maybe we judge Trump a little bit worse. My point is only this, that Trump is an answer to 40 years of disdain for American values, disdain from the left that was echoed in the echo chamber of the mainstream media. I don't know if you saw Shapiro on with CNN, where he told Brian Stelter to his face, you guys are egregiously biased. You know, I think that this is the thing. They are egregiously biased, but they don't understand. And the internet companies don't understand that when you silence people, they don't just go away. They smolder, they get angry, they react, and they maybe overreact. But, you know, Trump and everything he is doing, everything that gives him his popularity, It's you guys on the left. It's you and your abuses. It's you and your corruption. It's you and your hatred of American values that brought this answer upon you. Brought it down on yourself, and that is where Trump's support comes from, almost entirely, including for me. Including for me. I mean, I support what Trump does when he does really good conservative things, which he has. But I also laugh when he attacks these people, even when he is being rude. I laugh because you guys have been awful. These people have been awful.